Hello there.
You know what I've come for. This is the way.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Hello and welcome to the Pod Awakens, a Star Wars fan podcast. My name is Jordan Wiegand, and today we're talking Obi-Wan episodes 3 and 4, or parts 3 and 4. So just kind of to start and get this out of the way, I meant to be doing an episode 3, one by my, by itself, but had a lot of stuff going on that day. My dog had to have surgery to remove a tumor. He did. He's doing very well. So the last week or so has been me, and my wife taking care of him. I had family in town as well. So everything kind of got pushed, or else I would have had this out on what I think would be on time. So apologize about not being able to get that out sooner. So we're just going to cover 3 and 4 here in one go. I really enjoyed episode 3. Episode 3 so far has probably been my favorite episode. So we're going to get into that. Also at the top of the show, just want to say people are really down on the show, it seems. And for me, I've really enjoyed all episodes. So if you're not a fan of the show, I'm not sure you'll enjoy my recaps here, because I've very much enjoyed all 4 episodes. We only got 2 left, so I'm hoping everything goes smooth and I'll be able to do a part 5 episode this week and then part 6 the following week separately as separate episodes. Part 3 was aired on June 1st. It's called Part 3. It was directed by Deborah Chow, written by Joby Harold, Hannah Friedman, Hossein Amini, and Stuart Beattie. And the Disney Plus blurb says, Obi-Wan searches for allies. So that's it. That's the little blurb we got in that. But, we kind of start off here with Vader, and Vader is speaking with Reva, instructing her to find Kenobi and promising to promote her to Grand Inquisitor if she would succeed. We get Obi-Wan and Leia's transport from the end of episode 2 landing on the mining planet of Mapuzo. They're trying to meet to the rendezvous point that Haja, played by Camille Nanjiani from part 2, had told them about. They get there, and we kind of see Obi-Wan's state of mind here. Obi-Wan's state of mind is that immediately he thinks nobody's there, which means we were set up. We're screwed. And I think that's interesting because, Obi-Wan used to be more of an optimistic person. Maybe. He definitely used to be a little bit more optimistic. But now we're at this point where everything has kind of gone wrong, to where as soon as they get there and nobody's there, his immediate thought is, well, no one's here. I knew we shouldn't have trusted that guy. And, Leia's trying to talk him out of it a little bit. Trying to talk him down the ledge just a little bit here. Because, it doesn't mean the person's going to be there right away, right? Like, if somebody told me to meet them at the fountain at 3:00 and they're not there right at 3:00, I'm going to assume they were maybe a little late, ran into some problems or something. But, Obi-Wan is a Jedi who's been on the run, been in hiding for 10 years, is thinking a little bit more pessimistically. He's thinking we were set up. Nobody's actually here. I shouldn't have trusted that guy. So even after the guy had led him to a place to get off planet, he's still thinking, I can't trust Haja. That's where he's at mentally. So I thought that was a really interesting viewpoint to get of Obi-Wan. So Leia, and actually, you know what? One thing I want to say with this too, his delivery of the line here, Ewan McGregor's delivery of the, I knew I shouldn't trust the guy. It sounds very similar to the delivery in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, when he says, well, how did we fall for this? We're smarter than this, when they get stuck in the ray beam. So I thought that was really funny. It seemed like he was calling upon that same sort of way he was delivering the line. It's just something that kind of stuck out to me. It might just be me. But Leia is going to go ahead and wave down this trucker who's on, driving in this dirt road. His name is Freck. He's an alien. I don't know if we know what type of alien Freck is. It doesn't say. But he's, an alien who is very pro-Empire. And I think this is wonderful. You even get like the little Empire logo bumper sticker on the back here with his little handmade like flag type thing. Thought that was really, really great change there. A little bit of a almost real world type of thing, right? When people put political stickers on the back of their truck, stuff like that. So thought that was a great little real world thing that you would think a galaxy far, far away would have as well. That is something that I feel like they would definitely have. You would have people that are pro-Empire. Let's not forget the lie that Palpatine told at the end of Revenge of the Sith, that the Jedi were the ones who were trying to take control of the Senate, and that they hurt him and disfigured him, which is why he now looks, super messed up, is because of the Jedi. So that is the official story. And at this point, I don't think there's been anything really widespread to make people think otherwise, to make people think that this is a lie. Because what we also have with it, right, is the Senate is still going on. So while it is an empire led by an emperor, he said he's doing it for order. He couldn't trust the Jedi. The separatists were causing some problems, so he took over for the good of the Republic. He made it an empire to make it stronger, which of course some people are gonna believe. But what I think is interesting too is there's not been anything to really make them think otherwise, to make them think that this is, like I said, a lie. The Senate is still going on. Usually in an empire, it's just run by one person, but we still have people elected to the Senate. We have Bail Organa, still a senator. They're still making policy. So for a lot of the normal people out in the galaxy, not much has probably changed for them, honestly. We will hear of atrocities that the Empire will do later on. I'm not sure if timeline-wise where this is at, but they will make, Wookiees slaves off of Kashyyyk. That stuff is not getting out to the public. That stuff is not going to be known by Freck, who's a farmer or whatever, driving his truck route. That kind of stuff is not going to be known. So I think it's easy to kind of see Freck as a bad guy here. But I think also, we don't really know what is known to the public. He is obviously somebody that, maybe his driving route is now safer with the Imperial presence. So maybe he's thinking of it like that. But what we're also not getting, right, is we know the Empire is very judgmental against aliens. They're very kind of like humanistic. They really only like humans, the Empire. You know, they're going to cause a lot of problems for alien species. Freck is an alien that is siding with people that would probably oppress him. So it's kind of a sad situation for Freck. He actually doesn't believe Leia and Obi-Wan's story here. You know, Leia says she's Luma and she's riding with her dad, and that they got lost out there and need to ride back. And Freck says that's a weird story. He calls it out to them in their face, but he's going to drive them anyway. And he's going to drive them because he knows about the checkpoint that's further up the road. And when he gets out at the checkpoint, he goes over to the stormtroopers and says, "Hey, I picked up some strays that I think you will want to check out." He actively knows that they are a little sketchy, and he's going to bring them to somebody to have them get checked out. So it's unfortunate for Freck, because I'm not sure if he actually dies here. I've heard some people say he's going to end up dead, but I think he kind of gets clonked in the head by Obi-Wan. I'm not so sure he's dead, but maybe I missed that. I don't know. I watched it a second time, and I don't really think he was dead. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm trying to see what Wikipedia has in the entry for Freck. They have him as yeah, they just have incapacitated. They don't have that he is dead. He is voiced by Zach Braff, by the way, and I thought Zach Braff really hid his voice well here. I could not tell this was Zach Braff at all in the role here of Freck. I love the alien design for him too. I think he looks great. But during this ride, they are going to stop and pick up some Imperial stormtroopers, and Obi-Wan has a slip up here. He does call Leia instead of Luma. And he kind of excuses his away and says that this was an error. Her mother's name was Leia, and Luma looks a lot like her mother. And it works for the stormtroopers, I think, but we also get that that's true, right? Leia does remind Obi-Wan of Padme. Let's not forget how defiant Padme was in both Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. She's not as defiant in Revenge of the Sith. She's pregnant, and she kind of gets sidelined a lot, I think, in Revenge of the Sith. But in episode 1, she causes some problems, not wanting to listen, right? When she's the handmaid instead of being the actual queen. She gives some pushback to Obi-Wan and to Qui-Gon. She gives, in episode 2, she's the one that makes Anakin go to Geonosis for Obi-Wan. His order was to stay. Anakin's storyline. Anakin was told to stay following her in Naboo and keep her at Naboo, but she said, "Well, he told you to follow me, and I'm going there, so that means you have to go there." She's kind of a troublemaker, and Leia is very reminiscent of that. You can see the Padme in her, and I think that's one of the best things we've kind of gotten out of this show is really linking Leia from the original trilogy to Padme of the prequels. I think that is something we've gotten done really well in this show so far. So that is a part, really making those two trilogies feel way more connected than they have. I think we're getting a lot of that here. We're getting a lot of, when we see Darth Vader in this show, and some of the ways he's going to react to Obi-Wan here, it feels like the Anakin of the prequels. So that is what this show has really nailed for me so far. Okay, so they drop off the stormtroopers. They're going to get to the checkpoint. And this is where Obi-Wan is going to have to take on a few of these stormtroopers. He's going to act like he's, surrendering. He's going to be able to fire off some shots. We get the cool shot of the stormtrooper falling into the laser gate and getting chopped in half. I thought that was a great shot. Really enjoyed that. Then they get through the gate and there's a stormtrooper transport coming. And this is where we learn that the Tala, who is the person he was supposed to meet, is actually a female Imperial officer. She's going to take down the stormtroopers that are with her, and she's going to take them into the little town and into a little building that has a subterranean passage, like a little cave passageway here. And we get some good stuff in this conversation as well. We get references to characters such as Quinlan Vos from the Clone Wars. He's been in books, he's been in stuff like that. But Quinlan Vos is somebody that's been through this checkpoint. Obi-Wan calls him out. He says, "Oh, Quinlan was here." And I thought that was a really great moment as well, because I do wonder, I don't think we're going to see him in this, but it does show that Quinlan Vos has survived into this time frame, and he is helping people get out of or he was somebody helping, or he was one of the people that got through there and is living a new life somewhere, that we can come back to Quinlan Vos at another point if we need to. So that was really great. I really enjoyed that. Quinlan Vos is one of my favorite Jedis. The book Dark Disciple is really good too. If people are interested for more Quinlan Vos, Clone Wars, Dark Disciple as well. That's what you'll get, a lot of Quinlan Vos in the new canon. So Darth Vader arrives. He's going to start trying to draw Obi-Wan out here. He's snapping necks. He's dragging people. I mean, he drags a father out the window. He's going to snap the kid's neck when the kid's trying to complain. That poor mother is now, without, I guess the husband's still alive, but the child is gone. That is really bad for her. And he's doing it just to try to get Obi-Wan to come out, because like Reva has said before, the Jedi hunt themselves. They can't stand around and watch this stuff. Obi-Wan does watch. He's going to try to escape without actually interfering with Anakin, Darth Vader doing this. So they're a little wrong about Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan knows he can't really get too involved, or else it's going to cause some problems. He needs to escape that building because Leia is in the tunnel. He doesn't want to draw anybody to that tunnel. He wants to get out of there and get Leia away. Now he's gonna go. We're gonna get some great fight scenes with him and Darth Vader. It was great to see those two go at it again. We get the great lines of "I am what you made me" from Anakin, Darth Vader. And we also get the fire scene and Obi-Wan getting dragged into the flames. Anakin has been waiting for this moment for 10 years to get revenge on Obi-Wan for burning him, and he's dragging him slowly through the flames. He wants him to suffer. And the performance by James Earl Jones, if it's actually him, he's credited. I don't know if he recorded new dialogue and then they made it sound more like the older James Earl Jones, or if they just used the respeecher tech. The respeecher tech is credited in the show. So I'm assuming once we get the Obi-Wan Disney Gallery thing, we'll see how they actually did this. But I assume they just took, like they did with Luke in The Mandalorian, but it sounds really great. It sounded really, really great. Obi-Wan is going to be able to escape because Tala comes back for him, and then Leia is going to get captured by Reva. I saw some people complaining like, well, how did Reva get to the end of the tunnel before Leia did? Leia was in there first. I had the same questions when I watched it. I think you can see there's more tunnels in there than just the one way, so I'm assuming she took a different route, or she knew where it would come out and just got ahead of it. I don't know, but it's not that big of a deal for me. That's kind of where episode part 3 ends. Obi-Wan is scarred. He gets rescued by Tala. Anakin, Darth Vader storms off, upset, and Reva captured Leia. So what we'll do here is we'll take a quick break here, and then we'll talk about part 4. And we are back from our break. We're going to talk part 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, directed by Deborah Chow, written by Joby Harold and Hannah Friedman. This one aired on June 8th, 2022 on Disney+. So we kind of start off with Obi-Wan getting put into a Bacta tank. He's going to end up in a Bacta tank getting healed. And it's almost like they're connecting. Vader's in his Bacta tank on Mustafar in his castle, healing up from from his wounds from, I guess, still Revenge of the Sith, that he needs to go in there every so often. And it's like they're connecting. They're kind of getting the same sort of, you see Obi-Wan reacting and you see Anakin reacting. Obi-Wan's going to jump out of this thing, and he needs to know about where Leia is. And they'll find out that Leia was taken by Reva. They're going to end up trying to go after the Inquisitor palace, the Inquisitor location, which is called Fortress Inquisitoris. So Obi-Wan finds himself in a starship flown by Tala. Tala and Ned B, the droid, are tending to Obi-Wan by putting him in the Bacta tank. When he wakes up, he is gonna ask about where Leia is. They're on the planet Jabeam, which was the goal to get Obi-Wan and Leia to before. At Fortress Inquisitoris on the ocean moon of Nor, we have Leia as a little Leia is trying to tell the stormtroopers that she's a daughter of a senator. She's also a princess of Alderaan. Let her go. That's when Reva comes in and says that the Empire doesn't sympathize or tolerate Jedi sympathizers. And she's also going to tell Leia that Obi-Wan is dead, which is a lie. We know it's a lie. Leia doesn't know it's a lie. So she's trying to tell her that Obi-Wan's dead, to try to say, and she kind of flips this and says, they don't care about Obi-Wan. They left him to die, meaning the what we know is the people that run the path, Tala, the path people, kind of one of the first starting little points of the rebellion. And she's trying to say to Leia that they don't care about Obi-Wan. They let him die. Just give them up. Leia kind of sees through this. She's going to say, I'm not ever going to give up this information, right? She's very not falling for it. She's not going to fall for it. So on Jabeam, Tala and Kenobi are talking to some people. There's a guy named Roken who's one of the people there. Obi-Wan is asking Roken for his assistance. They're a little hesitant to help, but it's going to end up being Tala and Obi-Wan that's going to go. Mainly, Roken and some of the other people do go, but it's mostly going to be Tala and Kenobi infiltrating Fortress Inquisitoris. Obi-Wan's going to enter through the water, and Tala is going to enter through her ship because she still has security clearance due to her role. There's a great moment where she's going to go in there. And, one of the guys is going to stop her and say, hey, you're way out of your sector. And she's like, I got information about this thing. And, she's going off on him. She's still ranked above him. She kind of really dresses him down. He's going to let her in because he's kind of embarrassed at this point. And yeah, the facility is unshielded because they don't think that anybody would ever attack because of how many people are in there. The Inquisitors are in there. Um, we will get some air speeders at the end here. And I know some people probably complained about this because most people know them as snow speeders, but Empire Strikes Back, they specifically state the air speeders are being converted to snow speeders, that they are being converted to handle the cold. So this still all checks out with canon. But so Obi-Wan's going to get in there, and he's going to have, this is very reminiscent to A New Hope, going through an Imperial facility, just Obi-Wan kind of walking around trying to find where he's going. There's a part where he's even going to hide, and he's going to use the Force to make a sound that the stormtroopers check out, which is similar to A New Hope as well. So we also have Leia is going to get into an interrogation chair. Before that, though, like, Reva is messing around with Lola. We'll find out later she put a tracker on Lola, but Leia's going to get sent to the interrogation room. This is where Obi-Wan's going to save her. But it's kind of some dark stuff here with a little child getting tortured. It was a pretty dark episode here with that part. Obi-Wan is going to finally bust out his lightsaber. He's going to take down the two stormtroopers around her in the dark. It was a really great moment. I really enjoyed this part of him just cutting down some stormtroopers. And he's going to free Leia. Leia's going to be like, oh, they said you were dead. They're going to have a nice reunion. And the next goal is trying to get out of there. We will have Tala have to take down this like officer who's going to come over and try to check on her, and she's going to choke him out, go back to her desk, and kind of like viewing, I guess, like camera footage or whatever she's really doing there. So yeah, that's they're gonna try to escape here. We kind of get into the scene where they're in the water of like in a part under the water. This is kind of similar to something that happens in Jedi Fallen Order. There's windows with water in there, and they are going to a shot is going to crack one of the windows. Obi-Wan is going to use his Force to try to keep it closed for a bit until he couldn't hold it anymore, and he's going to kind of throw that water at the stormtroopers. He's going to sprint. He's going to get out of there in time. There's also another time where he cuts down some stormtroopers, and he does his little lightsaber twirl he likes to do. And you really see he's getting more comfortable. In the last episode, he was struggling with the Force. He was struggling more with his blade. He was really holding off Vader as best as he could. He was really struggling. In this one, I think at the beginning, they kind of show him trying to use the Force, and he grabs something, pulled to him, but it took a bit to get to him. I think it was the comm link. And as he's in this fortress, as he's in this really having to call on the Force a few times here, he's starting to get his mojo back. And I think where this is going is he's going to get his full mojo back. He's going to go up against Anakin again, probably in episode 6, part 6 of this show. And he will probably defeat him. He's probably not going to be able to kill him still, but it'll make more sense to Vader saying in A New Hope, when I left, I was the learner and you were the master. We kind of always read that as a Revenge of the Sith thing, but Anakin was never the one that left. He was always kind of scarred. And then when you match that with Return of the Jedi, when he says, Obi-Wan once thought as you did to Luke, we never saw Obi-Wan act that way. So I do think maybe when he's trying to defeat Anakin, in this. He might try to call upon him as Anakin. He might try to say, there's still good in you. And, in the recap from the first episode, when they show, all of the prequels, they really highlight that line from Padme saying to Obi-Wan, there's still good in him. I can feel it. I know it. And there's got to be some sort of answer to that Darth Vader line of Obi-Wan once thought as you did. Because right now, I don't think he thinks that there's good in him, but I think there might be something that might he might drop that knowledge on Obi-Wan on Darth Vader and say, I still think there's good in you. I'm not going to kill you right now. And Darth Vader might do something terrible that makes him think, you know what? Never mind. He's more machine than man now, which is what Obi-Wan says to Luke in Return of the Jedi. So I think we might be able to see those scenes in a whole new light at the end of these 6 episodes. But my main point being, Obi-Wan is getting back in the swing of things, and I think that is where we're heading. That in episode part 5, probably going to get more into the swing of things. Part 6, it's going to be their final confrontation before A New Hope. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from the show so far. People are going to freak out. I mean, people freak out about this hiding Leia in the trench coat thing. Look, is it a little silly? Yeah. Is Star Wars a little silly? Yeah. Is it a big deal? No. I could totally see this working in real life. What I mean by that is, at that point, there's no alarms going off. Nobody is even looking at them. Nobody is thinking that anything looks out of place. I could be walking on the street. Somebody has a kid in their trench coat trying to sneak them past something. I'm not sure if I'd be able to know, because that means I'd have to look at them. I try not to make eye contact when I walk. I'm just walking. Leave me alone. I could totally see some stormtroopers and some stuff just so focused on whatever duty they're doing that they're not too concerned about the guy right there walking who looks like he's in uniform. Like, nothing looks out of the ordinary except for, Leia kind of a little bit jutting out there. But again, if they're just kind of like quickly browsing, quickly looking around or anything, nothing is really sticking out. They might not be looking around. They're looking forward. Like, nobody's looking for them at that point. Then Reva is going to kind of sound the alarm, and then everybody turns around, and of course, their cover's blown. So, to me, not that big of a deal. We learn that Reva purposely let them go, which is similar to what Darth Vader does in A New Hope. And to kind of get the rebel base, to know that they're going back to Yavin. So, did he learn it from this? Maybe. Or maybe she just kind of has a similar thought process, and he's like, okay, I underestimated you. He was about to kill her. He said, I warned you what defeat would bring you. But, yeah. So we get the air speeders coming in to help save the day with them. And one of them is going to die, Wade, one of the guys we met at the beginning of the episode. And Tala says, hey, you guys are kind of soldiers now. This is really one of the first steps to the rebellion, one of the first things here. So it's kind of where we're at with them. But yeah, that kind of wraps up the, Reva mentions that she put a tracker. We see Lola turn on, and that's the end of episode 4, part 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So we have part 5 coming out on June 15th. That's this week that is going to be dropping. I'm going to have coverage on part 5 probably separately, not part 5 and part 6. But not like a double episode like this one is. This was the shortest episode of the show so far, this part 4. But I thought it was paced well. I thought it was really good episode, actually. Not surprising, though, if you were with us with the Boba Fett show. Lots of people did not enjoy that one, and, we talked a bit about that on the show, that seemingly there's always something to complain about. There's always something to be upset about with Star Wars nowadays, and people will let that get to them. And for me, I just can't really let it bother me. Um, Nothing has really contradicted canon so far. A lot of that stuff can be kind of explained away, so I'm not too worried about the canon or anything like that. But I hope people are enjoying the show. I do hope some people are out there able to find some good things with the show to enjoy. I mean, we're getting Obi-Wan. Ewan McGregor is killing it weekly, by the way. I think Tala's been great. I think little Leia's been fantastic. Reva's been good. There's rumors of a spinoff for her. I'm not sure how true those are. I don't know what I want from Reva. I don't know if I want her to be redeemed or not. I think it would be we get so many redemption arcs in Star Wars. I think it'd be more interesting if she wasn't redeemed, honestly. But yeah, I mean that's most of this show. Not too much more to really talk about this week, I guess. Like I said, where I see it going, I think episode 5, maybe they drop off Leia to Alderaan. Maybe part 6 is that final confrontation. Obi-Wan going back to Tatooine, wrapping up some stuff there, giving Luke the Skyhopper toy again. Uncle Owen being, I guess, cool with it this time. I don't really know how that'll be wrapped up. But I've been pleasantly surprised with this show. I was really worried when they originally announced it. I'm like, what can they really do with Obi-Wan on Tatooine? You know, they mentioned getting Joel Edgerton back for Lars, and you're like, oh, that's cool, but like, how many run-ins are they going to have? So far, it's really only been that one episode, right? And you'll probably see him a little bit in episode 6, I would think. And I think that's fine. I don't need a whole show set in Tatooine. I'm really enjoyed that this show's been jumping planets and doing Inquisitor stuff and getting Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan again. Like, this is a much better show than I was kind of anticipating plot-wise. I wasn't really expecting little Leia, and I'm really thankful that that's what they did, is now we have a tie to why she would call her son Ben, why she would call on him for help in A New Hope. And I know people are really hung up on that, but I really think if you look at the words that she says, it's not like she says they never met, right? I'm looking up exactly what they say here. Okay. General Kenobi, you served years ago. You served my father in the Clone Wars. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire. I regret that I am unable to present my father's request to you in person, but my ship is falling under attack. I'm afraid my mission to bring you to Alderaan has failed. I have placed information vital to the survival of the rebellion into the memory systems of this R2 unit. My father will know how to retrieve it. You must see this droid to safely deliver to him on Alderaan. This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. None of that says I never met you. None of that says I can't have met you. It's her calling for help and just reminding, hey, years ago, you served my father in the Clone Wars. I am now asking, and so is he, for your help now. It's kind of like if you're like, hey, Logan, my friend Logan, hey, Logan, I've drove you to the airport in the past, and now I'm calling on you to drive me to the airport. Like, it doesn't mean I've never met you. It doesn't mean any of that. She's calling on Obi-Wan, she doesn't have to say, like, you once rescued me from Inquisitors. Like, the main point is Bail Organa is asking for help, and she's calling on that to say, hey, you once served my father in the Clone Wars. You and him were tight. I now, and so does he, need your help. And I think that still fits with the canon. I'm not too worried about that without her calling him Ben or Obi-Wan, or, people are really hung up on her only knowing him as Ben Kenobi in this show, so that way she wouldn't know who Obi-Wan is. She doesn't even say, she says General Kenobi when she starts off that message. So there's nothing here that really contradicts that message. There's nothing here that really contradicts A New Hope at all. So that's where my thought process is. I think this is still all fine. I think this still all makes sense. This is not something that is throwing me off or throwing off the canon. So I think that's all good. Now you might ask, why didn't she mention that she saved Emma's job? Well, one, George Lucas didn't know anything about that, right? Star Wars is always retcons. That's one thing we've just got to come to terms with. Is Star Wars is retcons. Leia mentions how she remembers her mother's face and her feelings when she died. Padme died right after giving birth. So that's a contradiction that George himself oversaw and wrote both of those movies. So relax on the canon stuff. We're good. Nothing is game breaking here. Just enjoy the stories we're getting. If you enjoy them. If you don't enjoy them, I don't know. Maybe the next show, Andor, will be for you. That's kind of the point we're getting to now, is pick and choose what you want to watch. If you don't dig Kenobi, don't watch Kenobi. If you dig Andor, then just watch Andor. Try different shows. If you don't like the show, don't watch. It's kind of what we're at right now. Star Wars is going to have a lot of content coming up here. We have Andor later this year, Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, Mandalorian Season 3 in February. Got tons of great stuff coming out here. So just, watch what you enjoy. Don't watch what you don't enjoy. And just be thankful that we're getting so much more Star Wars content than ever before. We used to never get this much stuff. I grew up in a time where, I was born in 91. I'd watched the originals, but I got really big into Star Wars around 2002 before Attack of the Clones. I'd watched Phantom Menace on VHS. I bought the DVD. We played video games like the Obi-Wan Kenobi video game. We had the Battlefront games. I mean, it was a great time growing up in the prequels. Books were coming out. And then after that, kind of silence for a bit. We got Clone Wars. We got Rebels. And at times, those were the only things on that we'd be able to sit back and watch. When Rebels came out, that was my Star Wars fix, until 2015 when A Force Awakens come out. But there was a 10-year gap between films. And now we're getting like high film quality shows weekly. And then maybe a little months off, and then another weekly series, and then some months off, and then another weekly series. It's just really great. Like, really, when you get the Andor on August 31st, we're getting like 12 episodes of that. And then mid-September, late September, we get Bad Batch Season 2. We're going to have overlapping shows. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do for this show, but we're going to have overlapping shows at some point. And I'm sitting here amazed because we had to wait 3 years between movies growing up. We would read the books. One of my favorite books to read was the Jedi Apprentice series by Jude Watson. Came out in those late 90s, early 2000s. 18 short, kid books of Obi-Wan and being the apprentice to Qui-Gon. And then he came out with the Jedi. What was the next one called? Jedi Quest, I think, with Obi-Wan and Anakin. Between 2 and 3. Between 1 and 2. And then there was something between 2 and 3 as well. Or was it 3 and 4? Last of the Jedi came out. All by Jude Watson. She was like legendary for me. But yeah, we're lucky that we get all this stuff so much. And Disney Plus, you don't even have to worry about turning on like a cable channel and sitting through commercials. You can just watch Disney Plus and, watch it. And you have access to it to watch it as many times as you want. How many times do we talk about people watching like some of these Obi-Wan episodes like 5 or 6 times before the next episode comes out. Back in then, you'd have to record it either on a DVR, on a VHS tape. We're just so darn lucky right now. I can't even fathom what it'd be like if you went back in time and told kid me, like, we're gonna have a Mandalorian TV show, we're gonna have an Obi-Wan TV show, we're gonna have Andor TV show. They don't even know what that is at that point. But we're gonna have Bad Batch, we're gonna have Tales of the Jedi. Like, I'd be so pumped. So pumped. All right. If you want to give us a follow on Twitter, that's at PodAwakens, Facebook.com/PodAwakens, Instagram at PodAwakens, or email us podawakens@gmail.com. Give us your feedback on the show so far on Obi-Wan, what you're excited for Andor if you're interested, where you think Obi-Wan Kenobi is going this season. Will there be a season 2? We don't know. Jack and I will be doing coverage of D23 in September. And there's a Lucasfilm panel there on the Saturday, September 10th. And we'll have coverage of it over there. I might even put some of that coverage over here, I guess, when we talk about what's being announced there, or maybe an in-depth thing about just Lucasfilm stuff. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we have D23 coverage on the network, Logjam Media. Check it out. All right. Well, that's about it. Thanks for listening to me ramble on about this great show. I'm really looking forward to parts 5 and 6, and we'll see you next time talking part 5.
I have spoken.
It's over, Anakin!